Hello and welcome to the first lesson of how to read tarot. Now, just for the sake of this beginner's video, I'm only going to show you tarot decks which look like these, as opposed to the oracle decks which don't have the numbers or these pictures on them, and they have different messages. So that's for a later video. But just for educational purposes, I'm going to be using mostly my Smith White tarot deck. And you might have seen the Rider-Waite tarot deck, which is like this one, except the cards are bigger and the colors are just a little bit different. But fun fact about this deck in particular, this is a copy of the first original published tarot deck ever. And I think it was published back in 1907, 1909, you know, back in the good old days. Just a little historical fact. That's why I got this deck, because I wanted the closest thing to the original as possible. So you can see we have different types of cards here. Now you can divide a tarot deck into two different kinds of cards. You have major and minor arcana. So I'm just going to pull a couple and separate them in major and minor cards. Look at that. Love that synchronicity. 4 for each. So on the left hand side, we have our major arcana cards. These are the cards titled after a physical object or a person. Then we have our minor arcana cards on the right. Minor arcana have the numerals depicting the number, obviously, and what kind of suit it is. Roman numeral number 2 and cups. So this would be the 2 of cups. For this one, I mean, it tells us, but if we weren't able to see this, we would be able to see that, okay, they have a crown, so they're either a king or a queen, and they have a sword. In this case, Queen of Swords, because they have the long hair, they depict it as a woman. So what is the difference between major and minor arcana, and why are they separated like this? So major arcana cards have a more long-lasting energy. They depict events and situations and experiences that are going to be longer lasting in your life. Or if you ask a question to the cards and a major arcana card pops out, it means that it is a significant event. It's a bigger event, something that is going to take up more time in your life, as opposed to minor arcana cards, which are shorter lasting energy. So this card is the 7 of Swords. So if you pull this card, 7 of Swords talks about deception, betrayal, self-deception, lying to yourself. So if you pull this card out, since it's a minor arcana card, it means that that energy of self-deception or lying or cheating or whatever is not a long-lasting energy. Let's say if you pick the Sun in a reading, the Sun is about achievement, happiness, success. It's one of my favorites in the deck. If you pull this, this means that this energy is going to stay a while in your life. You're going to have this longer period of time of success and happiness in your life. I think the best way to teach you guys how to read and how to make connections and see synchronicities when you're looking at your own cards, or if you're watching someone else do tarot for you, is for me to do a reading on myself and just walk through everything and explain meanings of cards and how I make connections. For me personally, I feel like I learn the best when I watch someone else do what I'm trying to do. Depending on what you are wanting from tarot cards, you can ask a question, you can leave it open to the universe, you can leave it up to the cards to give you whatever message is needed to be received by you, whatever message is most beneficial to you. It's really up to you as the reader or as the viewer of the reading to decide what you want out of the cards. So most of the times I would say half the time I ask a question. For the sake of this video, I'm going to ask the question out loud so that you guys can hear what I'm saying and see how the cards manifest the answer out here. But most of the time, I just say it in my head, and I take a couple of minutes just to take a couple deep breaths, connect with my spirit guides, and really center and calm myself down before I start my reading. I would also highly recommend, if you are into crystals at all, to take a couple of crystals that have properties that really resonate with you right now. So for instance, I have my selenite tower. Selenite is really good for focus, concentration, clarity, and I really like choosing stones like selenite when I'm doing a reading so that the messages are very clear and come through easier for me. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to leave the message up to my spirit guides. So I'm just going to ask my spirit guides, any co-creators with me in this moment, I ask that you send me messages that are most beneficial for me to hear in this moment. So I already have a card popping up, so I'll take it. And this is the way I do tarot. You're going to see a lot of people do it differently, but I shuffle the cards and I take pop outs. So that means when I'm shuffling, if a card pops out like this one did or flips out of the deck, I take it as my message. Some other people do it differently. I have seen some readers, they shuffle the deck, they place it down, and they just spread it out and they just pick a random card. That doesn't resonate with me as much. I really like pop outs because I feel like it's my spirit guides really taking control and pulling whatever message is meant for me. But find whatever works for you. As far as shuffling goes as well, it really doesn't matter, whatever makes you comfortable. A tarot reading is always going to be more accurate. It's always going to resonate more with you if you are practicing it in the way that you feel is best for you. And that just comes with maybe watching a couple of people do tarot, finding someone else's methods that you really like and just copying them and practicing what they do and kind of making it your own. So that is the best advice in general I could say for tarot reading, is researching, discovering how other people do it, and finding what works for you. So for me personally, I shuffle like this, just taking the cards and putting them above each other like that, and I take pop out. So that's how I read my readings personally. Oh, and the spread that I'm going to do today is the most classic, basic spread, very easy to read, very beginner friendly. I'm just pulling 3 cards. So I just need one more card, and I will ask my spirits, I just want one more card. So spirits, if I could just get one more card for this reading, a message that will most benefit me in this moment, please. All right. So this is a basic 3-card spread. Now, there are multiple ways that you can interpret this. It's really up to you and what you want to get out of the cards. So, for instance, a 3-card spread could mean past, present, future. You could say that you want the middle card to represent yourself and the 2 outside cards to represent other people, or like an outside energy. It's really up to you, but you make that clear when you're doing a reading or when you're going to watch a reading. Make that clear, put it out into the universe what you're looking for so that the messages that come through better suit you and your situation and what you are looking for. When I first started tarot, I used the help of different websites. One is called Labyrinthos and the other one is Biddy Tarot. And I highly recommend you guys doing this because at first, even if you do have a little booklet, like this one does, and most decks do come with a booklet that tells you like the meaning of each one. I personally don't like to solely depend on the booklet. I like to go online because there's way more resources and way more information that I can find so that I know what these cards mean. So I'm just going to go ahead and read this how I normally read this. So, the Devil. This is the beginning of our story. So since I read left to right, I kind of see this as a progression. Sometimes I just kind of take it as, it doesn't matter the order, but most of the time I read it as a progression. So this is the start of the story, the middle, and the end of the story. So I got the Devil card. This is a major arcana card. And a lot of people freak out when they see the Devil and the Death card. These are not negative cards. I know we have, as a society, kind of seen them as negative, and I think that has to do with religious connotations, but in tarot, there really is nothing that's positive or negative. There only is and what isn't. The Devil represents toxicity. It represents bad habits that you need to let go of. It represents vices. I'm going to explain how this relates to my life so that you guys understand how to make connections from your tarot cards with real life. So I just got out of a relationship, and I feel like in my relationship, I was a bit too infatuated. I was a bit too focused on that and not really focusing on myself. So to me, when I see this Devil card, it means that I have spent too long of a time focusing on other people and becoming obsessed with romance and with love and with that person, basically. Now, we also have Six of Swords. So if I didn't know what the Six of Swords meant, I would look at this and say, okay, so no one is facing us. They're all turned away, and they seem like they're going this direction. They're on a boat, and they're on this body of water, and they're going this direction. And you have all of these swords, all six of them, in the boat with them. Now, in tarot, if there's water, water represents emotions. Sometimes it represents delusions as well, like you're not seeing things clearly. So if I didn't know what the Six of Swords meant, what I'm taking from this is that I'm walking away from a situation, or I'm not necessarily seeing a situation clearly, or I'm struggling to come to a conclusion. For me, what this is saying in response to my situation, so we started off with this relationship, and I was too focused on the other person. I was too obsessed with them. And I'm not in that relationship anymore, so this is telling me that I'm walking away from that relationship, and now I'm starting to see things for how they actually were. So lastly, we have the Death card. Now, I know everyone and their mom freaks out over this card, like, oh my gosh, this is a bad card, like, am I in trouble? Is something bad gonna happen? No. Absolutely not. I love receiving the Death card because it's all about rebirth, a new beginning, something ending, and it's always towards something better. So this is the way that I interpret the Death card, and just for you guys to learn how to interpret cards. So let's look at what's happening in this card. We have this knight, but the knight is not living, right? He's a skeleton. And this horse, he's a white horse, but he has red eyes. So I'm taking, this is like a very powerful image, right? This is a very powerful energy, the black and white, the dichotomy between these two. We see the man, and it's the king, in like the original meaning, this is the king and he's dead, right? And we see his family and this preacher praying either for the king, or maybe he's praying to protect these people from the knight, you know, whoever knows. It's kind of whatever story you want to tell yourself. And then we have the sun in the other side. So how I generally read the Death card is that kind of like divide the card in half, right? So there's one half of the story. There's death. Something ended. So, right, his life ended because of this, you know, very powerful energy. But if you look at this side of the card, it's a completely different story. You see the sun, which is a very bright, successful, happy, joyous energy. And these people and this preacher man or priest, whatever you want to call him, and he looks like he's praying. So I always see the Death card as ending something, but starting something and going towards something better, right? So the Sun card in Tarot, I showed it earlier, but the Sun card in Tarot is like the happiest card in the deck. It's like ultimate abundance and happiness and success, right? So in the Death card, we see the sun here. So this isn't a completely negative card. This isn't saying that like all is lost and that everything sucks. This is actually pretty positive because it's telling you, yes, something ended. And it's a very like powerful energy. It probably takes up a lot of space and time in your life. However, it's leading you towards something better, towards the sun, towards maybe this guy represents like spiritual balance, spiritual awakening, however you want to take this card. But in my situation, I'm seeing this story going this way. So we start off with the devil. I have walked away from a situation. I have finally gotten out of a toxic situation. I have finally realized that I was being obsessive, that I had these bad toxic traits, and I'm walking away from this relationship. Now, because this has ended, this situation has ended, and it's represented by the man on the ground. Now, this is telling me that I'm moving towards something better. That now that I have cleared out this vice, now that I am walking away from this bad situation, I'm being reborn. I am moving into a better headspace, into better opportunities, more abundance, because I am letting this baggage go and walking away. You see how I took this situation, a situation that is just happened in my life or is happening, something that is very relevant, and the cards that came out, I found connections of how they relate to my real life situation. That is all I have for you guys today. I really hope it helps. Again, I'm going to leave links / screenshots of the 2 tarot sources that I use or have used in the past that explain what the cards mean, what the different suits means. But I hope that you were able to understand and grasp the concept of tarot, how to read tarot a little bit better. If you want to see more videos like this, consider subscribing, liking this video, commenting down below. But thank you so much. I'm sending you so much love and light and happiness and joy and protection and all those good things. And I will see you next time. Bye.